Python is a widely used general-purpose, high-level programming language. It was initially designed by Guido van Rossum in 1991 and developed by Python Software Foundation. Easy to learn. Python being simple to code is one of the main reasons the language has become popular over time. The simple syntax allows people to work with it easily. Python is a high-level programming language, which focuses on making the code easier for the programmer. High-level languages are easier to comprehend and work with. In interpreted languages, the step of first converting the main code into a binary code does not take place. The code is then converted to machine code during runtime, which makes the language easy to debug and portable. Python is a free and open-source software, which makes reading the source code, distributing the software, and making changes to it quite easy. In Python, memory allocation becomes easier because when you assign a value to a variable, automatic memory allocation takes place during runtime. Portability is one of the major advantages of using Python. Python is free for all open-source languages and high-level languages, which allows you to work on multiple platforms and operating systems. You can use Python on any operating systems. OOP allows the reusability of codes. It also works on data redundancy, which allows you to store the data in multiple memory locations. Data redundancy provides memory backup in case you lose the memory at one location. This feature allows you to work on the reusable functions that focus on solving the problem at hand. You can also use this feature to call the same function in other areas of the code as well.
Python is an object-oriented programming language that allows the use of classes. You can use OOP to create multiple parent and child classes. These classes follow the class inheritance rules.
Now, we have established that Python has a vast range of libraries. One of their unique libraries is the Graphic User Interface library, which developers use for developing desktop applications. Python has a very helpful feature that allows developers who are comfortable and confident with C/C+/Java code to write code in these languages. This makes Python extensible, as you can extend these languages onto other programming languages.
Type, paste, and edit any text here. Python also has a feature that allows you to generate codes in other languages and embed them into Python code or vice versa. Python use cases: 1. Creating web applications on a server. 2. Building workflows that can be used in conjunction with software. 3. Connecting to database systems. 4. Reading and modifying files. 5. Performing complex mathematics. 6. Processing big data. 7. Fast prototyping. 8. Developing production-ready software. Data types are the classification or categorization of data items. It represents the kind of value that tells what operations can be performed on a particular data. Integers. This value is represented by int class. It contains positive or negative whole numbers, without fractions or decimals. In Python, there is no limit to how long an integer value can be. Float. This value is represented by the float class. It is a real number with a floating point representation. It is specified by a decimal point. Optionally, the character e or e followed by a positive or negative integer may be appended to specify scientific notation. Complex numbers. Complex number is represented by a complex class. It is specified as real part plus imaginary part j. For example, 2 plus 3j strings in Python are arrays of bytes representing Unicode characters. A string is a collection of one or more characters put in a single quote, double quote, or triple quote. In Python there is no character data type. A character is a string of length 1. It is represented by str class. Lists are just like arrays, declared in other languages, which is an ordered collection of data. It is very flexible as the items in a list do not need to be of the same type. Tuple is also an ordered collection of Python objects. The only difference between a tuple and a list is that tuples are immutable, i.e. tuples cannot be modified after it is created. It is represented by a tuple class. Data type with one of the two built-in values, true or false. Boolean objects that are equal to true are true, and those equal to false are false. But non-Boolean objects can be evaluated in a Boolean context as well and determined to be true or false. It is denoted by the class bool. In Python, a set is an unordered collection of data types that is iterable, mutable, and has no duplicate elements. The order of elements in a set is undefined, though it may consist of various elements. In Python, a set is an unordered collection of data types that is iterable, mutable, and has no duplicate elements. The order of elements in a set is undefined, though it may consist of various elements. What is Python type function? To define the values of various data types and check their data types, we use the type function. Consider the following examples. In this section, we will discuss the basic syntax of Python. We will run a simple program to print hello world on the console. Python provides us the two ways to run a program using Interactive interpreter prompt using a script file. Let's discuss each one of them in detail. Interactive interpreter prompt. Python provides us the feature to execute the Python statement one by one at the interactive prompt. It is preferable in the case where we are concerned about the output of each line of our Python program. To open the interactive mode, open the terminal, or command prompt, and type Python. It will open the following prompt where we can execute the Python statement and check their impact on the console. After writing the print statement, press the Enter key. Here, we get the message Hello World, printed on the console. Using a script file, script mode programming the interpreter prompt is best to run the single line statements of the code. However, we cannot write the code every time on the terminal. It is not suitable to write multiple lines of code. Using the script mode, we can write multiple lines code into a file which can be executed later. For this purpose, we need to open an editor like Notepad, create a file named and save it with Py extension, which stands for Python. Now, we will implement the above example using the script mode. To run this file named as first.py, we need to run the following command on the terminal. Step 1. Open the Python interactive shell, and click File, then choose New. It will open a new blank script in which we can write our code. Step -2. Now, write the code and press Ctrl+S to save the file. Step 3. After saving the code, we can run it by clicking Run or Run Module. It will display the output to the shell. The output will be shown as follows. Step 4. Apart from that, we can also run the file using the operating system terminal. But, we should be aware of the path of the directory where we have saved our file. Open the command line prompt and navigate to the directory. We need to type the Python keyword, followed by the file name, and hit Enter to run the Python file. Multiline statements are written into the notepad like an editor and saved it with Py extension. In the following example, we have defined the execution of the multiple code lines. Using the Python script, code name equals Rudra Veer branch equals computer science age equals 21 print my name is name, print my age is age. The script mode has few advantages and disadvantages as well. Let's understand the following advantages of running code in script mode. We can run multiple lines of code. Debugging is easy in script mode. It is appropriate for beginners and also for experts. Let's see the disadvantages of the script mode. We have to save the code every time if we make any change in the code. It can be tedious when we run a single or a few lines of code. Types of control flow in Python and Python programming language. The type of control flow statements is as follows: the if statement, the if else statement, the nested if statement, the if if else ladder. The if statement is the most simple decision-making statement. It is used to decide whether a certain statement or block of statements will be executed or not. Here, the condition after evaluation will be either true or false. If the statement accepts Boolean values, if the value is true, then it will execute the block of statements below it, otherwise not. As we know, Python uses indentation to identify a block. So the block under an if statement will be identified as shown in the below example. The if statement alone tells us that if a condition is true, it will execute a block of statements, and if the condition is false, it won't. But if we want to do something else if the condition is false, we can use the else statement with if statement to execute a block of code when the if condition is false. A nested if is an if statement that is the target of another if statement. Nested if statements mean an if statement inside another if statement. Yes, Python allows us to nest if statements within if statements, i.e., we can place an if statement inside another if statement. Here, a user can decide among multiple options. The if statements are executed from the top down. As soon as one of the conditions controlling the if is true, the statement associated with that if is executed, and the rest of the ladder is bypassed. If none of the conditions is true, then the final else statement will be executed.